Hi, my name is Astrid DeSoete and I live in Ward 4, and we're here to meet with Aaron to ask him some questions.
All right, here we are.
So, I got a list of questions here. What are the most important things you want the public to know about the work your office does here in Holyoke?
That's a big question. So first off, this is the Office of Planning and Economic Development. And it was actually two offices, separate offices under Mayor Sullivan, and they were combined. And so I sort of say, in one way, my job is to try to attract businesses into Holyoke, small and large businesses, and then help them navigate all the rules and regulations around establishing a business in the city of Holyoke. My office deals with everything from tourism, a little bit in housing, a lot about manufacturing. We support a lot of the commissions, like the Historic Commission, the Planning Board, the Redevelopment Authority, HEDIC, Bike Ped. It goes on and on. And the planning side, we deal with the outside of the building. I think that's one key thing I think that people should understand. That we're not the ones dealing with the interior of the building, we're the ones dealing with the outside of the building. How big it can be, the fences, the landscaping, the egresses, how people come in and out of that property, emergency vehicles and customers or residents, depending on the project. So we're dealing with the outside of the building on the planning side. And so I think people should know that this office is always open to helping people come to Holyoke, and if we don't have the answer, we're going to direct you the right way to get the answer.
So that leads me directly to the next question, is how does the public find out about where you're located at, what your phone numbers, how can they contact you, and do you have a Spanish speaker here in case somebody calls and only speaks Spanish?
Absolutely. So we're part of the Holyoke departments. So on the holyoke.org website, if you go to Planning and Economic Development, that's our pages there. So we try to have all the information there, our board minutes, our initiatives, our grants, all the stuff that's going on, all the projects, all the different studies that happen. A lot of different colleges and whatnot work with us on different sort of comprehensive and sort of imagining, visioning sort of projects. So we try to have all that information there. So on the website, we all have emails. So we answer all of our emails, and we're always happy to communicate with people. And yes, we do have Spanish-speaking staff. Our licensing clerk, who oversees all the licensing for liquors and auto repair, is bilingual. Our mass and motion coordinator is bilingual, and another one of our clerks is bilingual. We did have a bilingual senior project manager, but she moved on. So we do have our senior project manager is Holyoke bilingual. She can pull it off when it comes to speaking Spanish. So I might not put her in Spain to communicate, but she can get through here.
Okay. Are there any projects that you're working on now that you really want people to know about?
Oh, there's so many projects, but I guess, you know, part of what's interesting about this office is that we know about projects, you know, it could be 5 years before they actually come to fruition. It could be longer. And a lot of times we spend a lot of energy on projects that never come to fruition. So I would say the key projects that people should probably be aware of right now, in downtown particularly, would be 216 Appleton, where Wind Development is coming in to do 86 units of housing for 55 and over. That's an exciting project. They're finally going to be on site this July, breaking ground and doing the work they need to do, so that's really exciting. The two other things I would bring up would be that we've just received almost $400,000 in mass gaming mitigation grant money, and that's the money that we utilize to create the Explore Holyoke website that has all the happenings and the calendar and the listings of restaurants, and is really our vehicle for all the 150th information. So we'll be expanding some of that. We're also going to be setting up we're excited about this, we're going to be setting up a shuttle between Holyoke and MGM for when there's events in Holyoke, like Petronales Festival and Noche de San Juan. If we can get it done in time, I'm not sure about that one, so maybe next year for that one, but definitely the Petronales Festival, and then the Day in the Yoke in October, and also setting up a shared mural tour between Springfield and Holyoke. So we're really trying to get those customers that come to the casino to come out of the casino, see what else is going on in the area, come to Holyoke, come see what's going on. So we're really excited about that one. And then I think the last thing I would mention, just again, because there's so many things going on, we are really working collaboratively with the Holyoke Housing Authority in South Holyoke. Their phase 1 project is completed and should be occupied very soon, right around Vega Park. Our work with them is to aggregate the property for them to build the next phase of housing. So we're hoping that phase 2, which again goes around the rest of Vega Park and starts making its way down, we're hoping that project will come together, and this office just secured the property for phase 3. So we're thinking ahead. So we got to make sure the Housing Authority keeps up with us.
So after all of these good news, is there anything else you would like to add, or do you have anything that's kind of your favorite pet project or something?
So, I mean, for me, definitely coming into this, I definitely wanted to kind of refocus on tourism. There was a tourism plan done for the city of Holyoke at the end of 2019. And obviously we know what happened 4 months later. So that plan kind of sat on the shelf. Then when I came in to this office 2.5 years ago, we dusted that off and got it moving. I really see the tourism as, a way that we're going to support the retail that we have here in Holyoke, support our restaurants, support our parks, to have people come in and enjoy the resources that we have here in the city of Holyoke. So I think a lot of times people think, oh, tourism, it's not about Holyoke, but it is. When you think about the 70,000 plus people that come to the Children's Museum outside of Holyoke, they should be coming there and doing other things. We think about the tens of thousands of visitors to the mall. How do we get them to come downtown and enjoy some of our authentic restaurants and unique retail? And then how do we think about what this place is for recreation? Right, we have some wonderful parks, and obviously the work that Yoni's doing with the Scotts Tower and the Anniversary Hill Park. Those are assets beyond Holyoke, right? And again, bring people into the city. So it's always a balance of making sure we have things, for people who live in the city to do. But again, our focus in this office is the economic development. How do we make sure that our businesses are surviving? How they have those customers, and we have that foot traffic coming into the city, which is always the challenge.
So this was all great information. Thank you so much, Aaron, and thank you so much for having us.
Anytime, and happy to have you back, and hopefully we can keep this as a regular thing, and love to bring some of my other staff to come in and talk about all the great...
Hi everyone, this is Linda Pratt. I have one additional question for you, Aaron. I have come to realize recently that we have a lot of boards and commissions in the city. They are primarily volunteers, and they work under different departments or in coordination with different departments. So could you go over again the different commissions or boards that work with your department?
Sure, I will try. Coming from the consummate volunteer herself. So we have a number of boards and commissions in the city of Holyoke, and many under this office, and not all of them, some of them are just advisory. So our key boards and commissions would be the planning board. So every single site plan that comes through the city goes through Jeff Burkott, our principal planner, and our staff here. But again, it's up to that volunteer board, our planning board, to review those projects, vet them, and give approval. So the planning board, 5 people, very, very strong board, lots of work they do. They meet twice a month. Our redevelopment authority, Holyoke Redevelopment Authority, they meet once a month, and they are focused on the urban renewal plan, which is the plan that the city put together under my predecessor, Kathy Anderson, in this office. It looked at hundreds of properties throughout downtown Holyoke that were underutilized, and how do we reevaluate, how do we reinvigorate those properties. Some of the times we want to work with private investors, and sometimes the city needs to take the lead. And so the Redevelopment Authority is a really great tool that we have here in the city. HEDIC, our industrial corporation, similar to the Redevelopment Authority, but focused on manufacturing, on big industry. And we will have some really great programs rolling out this week, hopefully, or within the next week or two, some grant programs from HEDIC, one for makers, and one is an equipment loan program for manufacturers. So that makers program would be interest-free loans for startups up to 3 years in business to kind of bring their product, if they're selling their product out there, to bring them to the next level. So we're hoping to support some of our entrepreneurs here in the city. Those are probably our 3 main, really mass general law focused boards and commissions. Then we have the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, which was established because we have a complete streets ordinance in the city. They work with the engineering department and our office, and they Again, review any transportation-related plans, whether it's MassDOT or something the city's doing. So they review anything to do with transportation. They do a lot of events around biking and safe pedestrian ways. I know the mayor just did a bike with the mayor, I think, a couple weeks ago. We have the Tourism Advisory Committee, which was established as part of our tourism plan. So the TAC, made up again of volunteers throughout the city, different industries, tourism related, restaurants, hotels. The Greater Springfield Convention Bureau has a seat on there. The Wisteria Hearst, George Mulry from the Volleyball Hall of Fame. So there we talk about tourism. They review our grants, and then any of the RFPs, requests for proposals that will go out from the grants, they will review those. So that's the Tourism Advisory Committee. Then of course we have the Historic Commission that we staff. We staff the Historic Commission, again, that's also established by Mass General Law. And their main two scopes of work, if you will, their purview, of course, is over the demolition of any historic building in the city of Holyoke. They can issue a demo delay to sort of encourage developers to relook at reutilizing the building or finding another path instead of tearing those buildings down. And then, of course, they also maintain our historic register. They too do some events around the city, and at one point I think they're trying to bring back the plaque program where homeowners and business owners could have historic plaques on their building. Under that, we have the Local Historic District Commission. That is a setup within the city to be the overseer, sounds like the wrong word to be using these days, but the sort of body that works with local historic districts. The only local historic district currently in the city is Fairfield Ave. Fairfield Ave is a local historic district. The Local Historic District Commission could have 30 different little districts under their purview. You don't need to set up a new commission for every district. And I know they are working on one right now around some of the churches in the city of Holyoke. And then I think lastly, winding that out, is our, probably our Cannabis Review Committee, Citizens Review Committee. We established a Citizens Cannabis Review Committee to look at how we were spending the impact fees. And that's been sort of intermittently meeting, but again, just an advisory committee that we wanted to bring people in from the community, particularly in the wards where cannabis is allowed, to make sure that they had some say and some understanding of how those funds were being spent. So I think I got everybody. I think I got all the commissions. But,
well, you're going to hear from people who weren't mentioned.
Exactly. I didn't mention it, it's just I didn't write it down ahead of time.